today we're going to be talking about communicating your needs. And the reason I think this is important is because so many of us here in the Moms Without Capes community, we struggle, right? We say we don't have time for ourselves. We don't have time for to practice self-care. We're struggling with overcommitments, with a crowded schedule, struggling with setting healthy boundaries. And so part of setting healthy boundaries is communicating to those around you what you need. We have no problem making sure everyone else has what they need. But when it comes to ourselves, which is one of the big things that we work on here in the Moms Without Capes group, right? One of the things is to help us hang up our cape. And that means that we need to identify what it is that we need and then learn how to communicate that so that we can get the help from others, right? Get the help from others, or at least have like our spouse, our kids all on board. So let's get started. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the three, because today we're going to communicating your needs without feeling guilt. I forget how I put it in the description of this of this video or this podcast episode, no matter how, like, depending on how you're consuming this. But I wanted to really dive into that, like how to share with somebody what you need without feeling guilty about it, without feeling bad. And we'll get into that in a minute. So let's just start off with, how do you communicate your needs? It's really just three, or actually four steps. And the first one, of course, is to acknowledge what it is that you need. Identify what it is that you need, the solution, right? Oh, excuse me. Let me get a drink of water. So I didn't think of an example for this, but I should have. So say you have a sink full of dirty dishes, right? There's a sink full of dirty dishes in your kitchen, and you are frustrated because, you feel like you're doing dishes 5 times a day, loading the dishwasher. In our house, we do load the dishwasher twice a day, but you might be under that irrational thought, like it's just easier to do it myself, right? Because asking somebody, you might get some moans, some groans, you might have to ask 100 times, right? Like all of these things that have happened in the past are feeding into your belief that it's just easier to do it yourself. So we want to identify what it is that you need. And you need the dishes clear, right? You need those dishes clear. So that is the solution to the problem. If the dishes were cleared, you would feel a lot better. Your house would be a lot cleaner. It would be one more thing that you can check off of your mental load, your mental checklist. And it would just overall make the house a happier place. And so the solution would be the dishes. Okay. Now, we want to be able to state this clearly, concisely, and directly. Taking the dishes out of the sink and piling them in the corner, or piling them all over the counter, so that your other family members can see that the dishes need to be done, is not the way to do this. That would be a passive-aggressive way. A passive way would be either to do it yourself or to hint around to it, right? Like hinting to your husband or your kids and not actually asking them. So you want to be able to come up with that solution, what needs to get done, and ask for it in a clear, concise, and direct manner. You can practice this. If this is something, you can write it out. I love writing things out. So you can actually sit there and write it out. Like, how are you going to ask? How are you going to present this information, the solution, to your family? You want to take a deep breath, avoid using big words, and directly state what you need or your request. That's it, right? I know it's much simpler said than done. which is why practice is so important. And you may want to start with a I feel statement. I feel frustrated when the dishes are piled up in the sink. I need ... I need you to do the dishes. That's it. You don't need to over-explain. You don't need to dance around the solution or dance around the issue. You're going to state it clearly and directly. And then deal with the discomfort, right? If you feel guilty or angry or afraid of saying something, or sad or frustrated, or it feels awkward to you, that's okay. That's okay. When I say, without the guilt, you may still feel guilty, but that's okay. Like, acknowledge that and see what are the thoughts that are leading you to feel awkward or guilty or afraid or sad. What are the thoughts? Setting boundaries is not a bad thing, but it might be your belief about boundaries, about maybe what it takes to be a good mom, right? If a good mom always has a clean kitchen, maybe that definition needs to be reworked. What is the expectation, and what are the thoughts, and what are the beliefs that are leading you to feel a certain way? It's because it's completely healthy to have boundaries. By having feelings about those boundaries, about setting those boundaries, it shows that you're emotionally aware and that you're concerned about the potential of hurting others. But you're not hurting your family by asking them to get on board with you. Other people have boundaries that you're expected to respect, right? And you can have those boundaries as well. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to ask. You're allowed to request. You're allowed to have expectations. Setting boundaries is a sign of a healthy relationship. So when you're able to communicate your needs, that's going to foster a healthier relationship rather than through the other forms of communicate. Like when you're able to communicate them in a healthy way, rather than in a passive way or passive aggressive or manipulative way, it's important to learn how to communicate them in a healthy way, because that's going to foster a healthier relationship. If communicating your needs ruins the relationship, then your relationship was on the cusp of ending anyway. And we're talking about even with friends, right? With friends or extended family, with anyone really, even strangers. You need to be able to identify what you need and then learn how to communicate them effectively, communicate your needs. So now, how do you manage the discomfort? Those negative feelings that arise when you are communicating your needs. Well, these are some coping skills, right? Some things that you can do instead to process through that discomfort. The first thing is to just sit with it. Feel that discomfort. And again, you can think like, what are the thoughts that are creating these feelings for me? But you sit with that discomfort and it's okay. And know that you are okay for having those feelings. You can journal about it. Open up a notebook and write down, what are you feeling? And again, what are those thoughts that are fueling those feelings? And remind yourself that it's okay to feel your feelings. Hug someone. Get out and move your body. Getting out of your mind and grounding yourself in your body is a great way to move through that discomfort. Call a friend, right? Have that person, have that support system in place so that you know who you can call when you're feeling those uncomfortable feelings. Cry, right? Crying is so therapeutic. Now, if you're crying all day, every day, then you need help. You need some help. Reach out. there's therapists around. I'm a therapist, but only if you're in Montana can I treat you. But if you are struggling with, depression or anxiety, and you feel like that this is a reoccurring, like if you're seeing some patterns and you're seeing these symptoms come up again and again, then maybe you should talk to somebody. Watching something funny, right? Even scrolling through and watching like funny animal videos or funny kid videos or whatever you find humorous, like just put on a comedian. There's so much value in laughter. Laughter really is the best medicine. And getting out of your mind and putting your attention into something funny can help you process, can help you move through those uncomfortable emotions. Maybe taking a nap, right? When you're using so much energy, it can be exhausting and it can create real fatigue. So maybe just taking a nap, and when you wake up, you notice that you start feeling better. Or doing something creative, right? Singing, dancing, art, some music, right? Putting on your favorite songs can help you deal with that discomfort. So if you struggle with setting up healthy boundaries, whether it is identifying what it is you need, expressing what it is you need, like communicating your needs, I want to talk to you. Schedule a call. I'm going to put the link in the comment section under here and in the show notes, momswithoutcapes.com/love yourself. Let's talk about it. I want to hear what's going on. And by getting on this call with me, you're going to get clear about what's stopping you from setting up healthier boundaries. Because as you learned today, having healthy boundaries, by being able to communicate your needs effectively, it's going to really be a game changer in your relationships with your family. I promise that, right? There's so much there's so much scientific evidence that points to that it really is a game changer. So go ahead and sign up for a call with me. It's a free call, and just to get clear on what's stopping you from having healthier boundaries. So that's it for today. I want to thank you for joining me, and I look forward to serving you. All right, I will see you in the group.